Okay, well, we are at 3:30, our starting time. So let's go ahead and get started. I know we'll have a few more people joining us as we go, but let me say hello and welcome you all. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for joining me today for our webinar called 3 Steps to Finding the Best TESOL, TESL, TEFL Certificate Course Without Losing Your Mind. Let me say hello to you. Real live here with my face. Hello, everyone. It is great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. I put this webinar together because I answer this question for people all the time. I don't know how many times a day I get a call from someone who's confused about how to get overseas. They think it sounds like a good idea. They would like to explore it a little more, but then as soon as they start doing some research about what kind of training program you want, what is TESOL, TEFL, TESL, all that stuff, they get so confused because it's really very convoluted. So the whole reason today, a couple of reasons. One is to try and clarify from my point of view what the differences are between the programs and how you know what one might be the best one for you. I also want to introduce to you our new program, which is a blended learning program. So it's not entirely online, but it really gives you more flexibility in how you complete the program. So you're only face-to-face classes with us a few hours. We have classes via Skype as well, and then you complete a lot of it online on your own. So I'm going to introduce you to that too. So all right, I'm gonna go back and forth between talking to you face-to-face and I have some PowerPoint slides here just to give you a little more visual information besides just looking at my face. So let me go back and share with you my screen so that you can see here what we're gonna talk about. Okay, so here's the title of our tools today. And I'm going to start just by telling you quickly a little bit about me. I have a lot of silly pictures here of me, and I chose these because these are all places that I've been able to visit and things I've been able to do because of teaching English overseas. I've had the opportunity to teach in Korea, in Mexico. I've lived and worked in Nicaragua, in where else? Well, Ecuador. I teach a program in Ecuador every summer. And so I've really been so, wow, I'm so excited and blessed and really grateful for all the things that I've been able to do because of teaching English overseas. I started teaching actually in my hometown, not overseas at all, working with internationals who were coming to the Greenville area. And I guess my first year doing that was 1999. So it's been quite a while. And I thought, well, let me just do this for a year and see how I like it. And I can't get enough. I'm still doing it. So I started out with the TESOL certificate, and then I built on that, and I learned about teacher training, and then I got a master's degree in education. So I've been doing this for a while. I've been able to work with people from all over the world, here and abroad, and I've had amazing opportunities to work with kids, adults, business people, immigrants, people in their home countries when I go to them, and I am so excited to be able to share that opportunity with you too. So I'm trying to think about who you all are on our webinar today, and I feel like most of the people I talk to who are interested in teaching overseas want to travel more, want to every day when they go to bed feel like they've had an amazing experience that day. Those kinds of things happen when you travel. People who want to get unstuck. Maybe they're in a job they've outgrown. Maybe you're just tired and you want to do something different. Or maybe you're graduating, and congratulations to you if you are. I know some of you on this webinar are graduating from college and you're just ready to get out there and do something. Maybe you really have a calling to do something important in the world, not work in a cubicle, but really feel like at the end of the day, you've made a difference in somebody's life. That is something that might appeal to you in teaching English. And sometimes there's just a place that you've always wanted to be able to visit or live, and this will get you there too. And I want you to imagine right now being equipped with the knowledge and the confidence to actually live and work overseas and know today exactly what steps to take to get there. That is my goal for us in this next hour, a little bit less than an hour, is to have you feel like I can do this and I know exactly what I need to do next to get there. So we're going to start with a little quiz. You know, I'm a teacher, so I love quiz. Actually, I don't really give my students quizzes, but I'll give you guys a quiz about living and teaching overseas and if it's for you. We'll all look at a couple myths about teaching overseas that might something new information for you. And then we get to the meat, which is what are these 3 steps to choosing the best course or best program for you to get you there. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our new blended course, and then I will give you some resources and also a thank you for joining me on this webinar. Of course, you can ask me questions anytime by chatting in that Facebook comment box. And I promise to be checking in and making sure that I am answering your questions. Okay, great. So let's start with our quiz. This is a very easy quiz. All you need is your fingers to count on. So what I want you to do, I'm gonna look at the next slide here with you. That's me. Count. You're going to count on your fingers how many of these comments you would say yes to. So I'm just going to 2 minutes to read through them. I'm going to be quiet over here and let you count. Okay, so go ahead. Our first one here. I can't get enough of travel and I daydream about living overseas. Why, yes, that's me. I will count that for one. So go ahead, take a look. Did you have a chance to read them all? Take another 30 seconds. Okay, so there's 17 statements here. Have you run out of fingers to count on? This is a hard quiz, right? If you have 10 or more yeses on this list, then I'm really glad you're here. And I think you're in the right place. I think teaching English abroad might be a really good decision for you. If you have more than 10, definitely. Even if you have, I would say 7 or 8, then I would say you are still definitely in the right place. And I'm glad you're here. So let's move on. And I want to talk about 3 little things that people always wonder about. And I get these questions all the time. So what are some common myths about teaching overseas? Number 1, I need to speak another language to teach English. That is false, 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 false. I know so many people who teach English who do not speak another language. In the countries that I've taught in, I certainly haven't spoken all the languages. I do not speak Korean. I learned a little when I got there, but I didn't know any before I arrived. And most English teachers, native speaking English teachers around the world, the jobs that you're going to be hired for, these are jobs that they are hiring you because you speak English. They don't care that much that you speak another language. There are a few exceptions, but in general, you're going to use English to teach English. The next question, of course, is, well, how do I do that? That's what you learn in a TESOL certificate course. How do you teach English using the medium of English? So you don't need to speak another language. Number 2, I have to be an English major or an English genius to teach English. The second thing I hear all the time is this: my grammar is terrible. I couldn't possibly teach English. I don't even know good English myself. And I say to that, wrong, because you are being hired because, you know, they get the grammar. People in other countries are getting the grammar in their textbooks. What people hire native English speaking teachers for, or foreign or international teachers, is for the conversation, for your fluency, for your knowledge of culture. And in your TESOL certificate course, they should be giving you resources on grammar. So you should know where to find that information, but you don't have to have it all in your head. Number 3, I need to commit to this profession for the rest of my life. Also not true. So many people I work with are planning to teach English for a year, maybe 2, before they go to grad school, before they decide on another path in life, before they settle down and get married, before whatever it is. Or they've already had a full career, this may be your case, and you're ready for something different. You're ready to explore a little more. I work with a lot of people who are looking at retirement and think this is a great thing to do in their retirement, and I think it is too. So the training that you get isn't, you don't need a 2-year degree to do this. So it's definitely a moderate investment. So you don't need to feel like, okay, I have to do this forever because I just spent 4 years of my life getting trained for it. It's a moderate investment of time and energy. And so it's not too terrible to go off and teach for a year or 2, or even fewer. Even you can teach a summer camp or something like that. Okay, so those are my 3 questions that I bet one of you had, and I hope I answered them for you. Okay, so let's move on. This is the real stuff here. I'm gonna check real quick and see if anybody has any questions, any of these threads that I'm following here before we move on. Okay, I've got that refreshing. And I think I'm gonna close this and go low tech with you for a minute. Okay, cool. So I think I thought I was screen sharing with you, and maybe I wasn't, but I hope I am not now. Okay, so our 3 steps to finding the right training program. Look at me, low tech. Number 1, this is all about you. It's not about the training program at all. It's about clarifying what your goals are. So hang on a second here. Okay, low tech, here we go. Can you read that? I hope you can. Hope it's not backwards like I see it. Plan for the experience you want to have. Plan for the experience you want to have simply means figuring out what your goal is in teaching abroad. So that means to me, what kind of, where do you want to go? Do you have a certain place that you want to be? Do you have a certain kind of people that you want to work with, like kids or adults? Have you had a dream to go to a Spanish-speaking country so that you can improve your Spanish? What are the criteria that you have for teaching abroad? Do you want to make a lot of money? Do you not really care about money? You just want to have an experience that's full of adventure. Do you want to travel frequently, or do you want to settle in one place? these are some questions that you need to ask yourself first, because once you're clear on what your goals are in teaching overseas, then everything else kind of falls into place, including the kind of certificate program that you want. So I generally would put people into, it's kind of a continuum. I wouldn't say categories, but my way to categorize people who are looking at teaching overseas goes like this. On one end of the spectrum, I would call this group nomads. I don't know. It seems like a good name. Nomads. These are the people that really just want to have an adventure, backpackers. And you want to see as much as you can see in as short a time as you can see it. Yeah, you think teaching English might come in handy on your trip. And you may settle in one place for a couple months, and it would be cool if you could get a job working with kids or doing some tutoring or something. I had a friend who was actually ended up doing voiceovers in English while he was traveling around, which I thought was pretty cool. But is your goal to see lots of places, and teaching in and being in one place is kind of secondary? Then I would put you more on the nomad part of the spectrum. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just one area where you might be. Going all the way to the other end of the spectrum, I would call these people more like academics. So these are people who know that they want to go to grad school, or that they're going for a specific profession. So a lot of colleagues I have now at my age who are working at the UN and working with international aid organizations and working with other international companies, they got their start teaching English overseas because it's a great way to get that experience and get it on your resume and get that other language under your belt. And when international companies and international aid organizations see that you have lived overseas and you have taught, then it really puts you at the top of the resume pile. So maybe your idea of teaching English isn't so much about the English teaching part, but you have a plan and a goal. And so living overseas for a year and supporting yourself while you're doing it is a great way to go. Or that you want to go into English teaching, so you're planning to go teach overseas and then come back and do a graduate degree in that, okay? So those are people I would put more the academic end of the spectrum. So we have our nomads on one side, and we have our people with a planned path on the other side. And in the middle, don't have a good name for these folks, but this is most of the people that I work with, and maybe most of you who are listening today. I would call these people cultural adopters. So this is usually me when I want to travel. And so what I mean by that is that I want to kind of settle in a place. I want to feel like I'm home here, and I want to have my apartment, and I want to be able to go to my grocery store and make my friends at the post office and the grocery store and see the same people and learn the subway route and go to my job every day. And it's a totally unique and amazing adventure because I'm in a new place. But at the same time, I'm kind of building some roots. I know they're temporary. I know I'm not going to be here forever, but I am acting as if I live in this place. I'm trying to learn the language, I'm trying to understand the culture, and I'm trying to fit myself into that. Maybe that's you. Maybe you're one of these people in the middle like me. And so I want you to think right now about what of these categories you might fall into. Are you more the one who wants to have a good adventure? Are you more someone who really wants to kind of grow roots in a place and understand it and live there and have a job? Or do you want to do this as more of an academic exercise? Your answer to this question has a lot to do with what kind of TESOL or TESL or TEFL certificate program I would recommend for you. So I don't know if you've started researching or not. I imagine if you're on this webinar, you probably have done some research on what kinds of programs are out there. So you can see when you start doing that, you have everything from like a weekend course, like give me your money and you come to my class for 1 day or 2 days. Sometimes they're even completely online. So you give me the money, I give you access to the modules, and then here's your certificate. Okay, that's one end. All the way through to the other end where you can get a TESOL certificate, same basic credential, through like a 2-year college program. I think some universities offer a certificate program, so it's the same certificate that you take, you're taking like 20 credit hours of class to get that certificate. If you're someone who knows that you're going to go to grad school for this and you need those credits, those 20 hours, and you're going to invest 2 years in this before you move forward, if you're that academic person, then this may be a good program for you. If you're the nomad person who says, hey, I don't know that I want to teach English, but I might run out of money and let me have a certificate in my back pocket, then one of these short weekend courses might be for you. I'm not here to diss any kind of TESOL courses because they're all out there as a fit for somebody. If you're someone in the middle, then I'm guessing what you're looking for is something that's going to give you confidence to teach, really to get in the classroom and know what you're doing at work. And honestly, I recommend this to everyone because if that's one of your criteria for a TESOL certificate course, that you actually learn what you're doing, it's going to help you in your job and it's going to help you in your life. Look, when you move to another country, you're going through all kinds of stuff. You have culture shock. You have a new language. You're trying to figure out where the doorknob is on the door and how to flush the toilet. There's enough stress in life moving overseas. You don't want to walk into your job and also not know what you're doing and feel like completely overwhelmed and over your head because you don't know what you're doing. So my recommendation is always to look for something that you really learn some skills so that when you get in the classroom, at least that part of your life is pretty solid, and you can deal with your culture shock and everything else as a good adventure and not as an overwhelming, terrible thing. So if you're one of these people in the middle, the kind of course that you want is probably one with a pretty solid academic experiential side so that you get some practice and you know what you're looking for, and so that you feel comfortable in the classroom. And also it's going to give you some job opportunities as well, because that's the whole point of taking the course, right? To get a job to teach overseas. So you want to make sure that it has that too. So I'm kind of already in the second step, so I think I better just stop talking. No, so our idea is, let me go back to my screen here that I'll show you. Step 1, plan for the experience you want to have. So maybe you've jotted down some notes while I'm talking here. Maybe you can do it after. What do you want out of this? Who do you want to work with? What do you want to learn? Where do you want to go? When do you plan on doing it? How long do you want to be there? Do you want to be there for a year? Do you want to be there for 3 months? All of these things are possible, but we need to make a list so you know what you're looking for. And also, I forgot to tell you something else, so let me move back here. We have all these different kinds of acronyms describing the training courses that the TESOL certificate programs are called. So you'll see TESL certificate and TEFLs and CELTAs and TESOLs and all these different kinds. So in general, let me just tell you that they all mean the same thing. When someone is hiring you to teach English, it matters very, very little that you have a TESL or a TESOL or a TEFL or whatever. They do have differences. A lot of it is just geography though. So in Canada, they use TESL and TEFL certificates, and those signify different things. TESL is if you're teaching in Canada or teaching immigrants to an English-speaking country, and TEFL would be if you go to the other country, like teaching in China or Brazil or somewhere like that. In the US, we generally use TESOL to describe both of those scenarios. And CELTA is a brand name. That's a Cambridge program. And it's a large, I guess, like, would you call it a chain, I guess? So you can take that specific program at lots of different places in the world. So you may see that as along with TESOL, TESL, TEFL. For our purposes, they are the same thing. So do not worry about that. Okay. Now you've thought about what kind of teacher or traveler you are. So that's going to help us figure out what kind of time, workload, and money investments you want to make when you're choosing your TESOL certificate class. Okay. So that's step two. Step two is finding the training program that is going to deliver the results that you want. So if your results are, I really just need to have a piece of paper because I don't really plan on teaching, I mostly plan on traveling, then maybe it's okay for you to look in those programs that are shorter, that are a shorter investment of time and money, and that will just give you the very basics of what you need. Maybe an online program will work for you. I cannot say. Okay, if you're someone who knows that you're going to go back to grad school and you know you really want to build on this, then maybe you want to go for one of those longer and more expensive programs and know that those kinds of credits are going to transfer, or that you're going to get the academic foundation that you need to go forward in grad school with this kind of program. If you're someone in your middle, if you're one of those cultural adopters, then you want to look for a program that, number one, has job connections, right? You know you want to be able to find a job. Kind of job connections can you get through that program? Equally as important, that you find a program that is going to give you the foundation that you need to be comfortable in the classroom. So you really, you kind of want to know what you're doing. If that's the kind of person you are, then look for a program that has a solid curriculum and that has, well, lots of different things. Let me go through a little list with you quickly here. You might want to know if the program has job placement. Does it have job placement so you can find a job in the world, or not necessarily placement, but at least resources? Do you need to write an international resume, and will that program help you with that? Do you really want good training? Do you want good instructors? Do you really care about what you're learning so that you can be a good teacher and be a less stressed teacher when you're in a new country? Do you want, like I said, the quick and dirty, like just give me a weekend program and I'm out of here? Do you want academic credit? Is that something that you need in order to move forward? Do you want hands-on experience? Do you want to know that, hey, through this training program that I'm taking, I'm going to have experience actually teaching a class so that when I get that job overseas, it's not the first time I've ever walked into a classroom. It's always a little scary walking into a classroom when it's a new class, but it is doubly scary the first time you do it. So you know what? Do that as part of your program. That's my opinion anyway. Do you want to have ongoing community resources? Do you feel like you want to take the training and then be done? Or do you want to go with a program that will continue to support you and help you with jobs and help you with connections, even if years from now, if you decide to go back to teaching English or you end up doing it for a longer time? So those are the kinds of things you want to think about when you're wondering what kind of training program to go with. Okay, so let me come back to you and see you all again face to face. Cool. Okay. A few things to keep in mind. I talk with employers and recruiting agencies pretty regularly, and also with other TESOL programs. And I'm always trying to figure out, because my job is to get you a job if you're in my program, what is it that they are looking for? What are the most important qualities that they are hiring for? You know, who do they want? So here's some things that in the past couple of years have become kind of standard. Of course, it's never 100%. We're talking about the whole world. So these are just kind of broad brush things that employers are looking for. They want to know that you've taken a TESOL, TESL, TEFL certificate program and that it's met for at least 100 hours. And I always see that as kind of a baseline. So you might want to take that into consideration. That'll give you a wider range of jobs that you'll be eligible for. 100-hour certificate. A practicum experience. Of course, they want to know that you have experience. And they want to see that you've had a supervised practicum. And I always see the magic number, and I don't know why, of 6 hours. So have you done at least a 6-hour practicum and been in front of a class and had that experience? So course hours, practicum. Oh, that you haven't taken a course that is entirely online. Now, the online world is changing really fast. And I know sometimes now you can get, I have a colleague who just finished her master's degree in TESOL and it was online, but she had to record herself teaching and send it to the teacher. So it was mimicking a face-to-face program. A lot of employers want to know that you have met with your classes face-to-face, at least for part of the time. And I totally understand that. I've been working on this blended program for a while now, and it's been about a year that I've really been racking my brain about how do I come up with an online program, because face it, that'll be accessible to so many more people than making everyone come to South Carolina to see me. I know that's not always feasible, and to stay for a month. So I've been racking my brain to how to make it work. And I know that for me, it's really important to see you teach. How can I give you feedback if I never see you in front of a classroom and I don't feel good saying, you know, stamp of approval, you're an English for Life graduate, when I've never even seen you teach? So I've had to really work that into our program. So I understand why employers want to know that you've done some face-to-face work. So those are 3 things that employers, I think, are usually looking for: a 100-hour class, you've done at least a 6-hour practicum, and you, I just said it and then I just forgot it. Course, practicum. I'll just leave it at that because I know I just said it. Okay. So those are things, again, it's not across the board. Even getting a training or a certificate is not 100% necessary. If you're on that nomad end of the spectrum and you feel comfortable buying a plane ticket and showing up in Cordoba, Argentina or wherever, and just walking around town and saying, hey, I speak English, hire me, it's not unheard of. It's not unprecedented. It happens. And you may find a job that way. So don't let me stop you if that's how you want to do it. You can also do that with the TESOL certificate in your hand and have much better results and make more money, but that's just my opinion. Okay. So those are the things you want to think about when you're looking for a training program. What are the things that they're offering? So I would like to give you the task to look at that first list that you made. What are your criteria? What kind of teaching and traveling experience do you want to have? And then comparing it. What do I need then out of a TESOL certificate program? And just put it, you know, make a criteria here. Put it from most to least important so that you can do some research that's real. You can always just come to English for Life, of course, but I know that you need to make the best decision for your time and your money and what's available. So keeping that stuff in mind, I hope you can find a good program. I do want to tell you a little bit about our program, and I think let me take a minute and do that now. Since we're talking about programs, let's take a look at what English for Life has in our blended program, and then I'm going to come back and tell you step number 3, but I also have some fun bonus for you, so I can't wait to show you that. So listen, if you scroll down, I have my other computer here, scroll down a little bit and it says, click here to know more about this course. Come with me to that page, and then I will show you how our blended course works and also what our regular, well, both of our courses, all of our courses look like in the scheme of things. Okay, so we're not going to read the whole page here. You can take a look at this and see all the details. But what we focus on at English for Life are really those people who are kind of that middle of the spectrum that we're talking about. If you just want a quick and easy and cheap and I just want a certificate kind of thing, we're probably not the program for you, because we do make you work. You do have a practicum experience, and it is an investment of time and energy. But it's not super academic where it's all about the theory and all of that. We're super practical. We want you to have an amazing experience overseas, and we want to make sure that you are comfortable in your job so that you can do that. So that's kind of who we focus on. So if you're looking at this page, then you'll see who I think you are, and just the broad categories of what is involved in all of our courses are in those blue squares, blue rectangles. So our program, I will say expert training. Our trainers are amazing. I am so lucky that I work with the people I work with, and you can see them all on our website and meet all of our teachers. But we have a 100-hour course, and it's 100 hours face-to-face or blended with Skype, or we use Google Hangout classes and online classes and face-to-face classes. We also, you can see in there, have a partnership with the College of Charleston. And so this class is actually worth 6 graduate credits. And the cost of that is included in your tuition of the course. And I would love to answer your questions about this because it does get a little confusing. These are not credits that will transfer to a master's degree at College of Charleston. These are professional development credits, but master's credits nonetheless. So we don't have a lot of time to get into the details, but if that is something that's important to you, if you're more along the lines of, yes, I want to get credit for this, then I'll show you how to get in touch with me and we'll chat more about that. Practical experience. I told you the baseline for practicum was 6 hours, and ours is a 30-hour practicum. And it includes observing classes, teaching one-on-one, and also teaching your own class. We partner with English language class providers in all of the sites where we teach our classes. And I didn't even tell you where. So we run classes in Greenville, South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, and in Quito, Ecuador. So when you come to us and take a class in Greenville, you're working with the local ESL class providers. Most of our classes are adults, a couple with kids, but generally you're teaching adults. If you're in Charleston, we work with our partner organizations there. And if you're in Quito, you work with the partner organizations there. So your practicum experience, people have said, is the most important part of the course. Okay. Personal mentoring is another one. And I and another instructor in our program are also professional coaches. So we really is an important part of what we do is mentoring and making sure that you are getting what you need and you are following the path that you need to be on to get there. So all of our classes are very small. We never have more than 20 people, and that's for a reason. We want to have personal connection with each of you so that we can make sure that you're getting in the right direction and you're going to be able to find the jobs you're looking for. Okay, right under that, and on this page, we have job connections. So we do not place people in jobs, but we have lots of resources. Overseas, we have a database where we'll send you the database, and you have, I don't know, hundreds of programs, schools, and recruiting organizations on there for you to get started. We also have a huge list of websites where our teachers have found good jobs. So we will send that to you. We also, as part of our program, have a professional resume writer who is on our staff and works with us, and she'll do workshops with you about writing international resumes. And she also offers to each person going through the program a one-on-one resume coaching session. So you will have the best resume by the time you leave this program. And something cool, she is a master at taking all of your past experiences, even if they're not teaching, and making it applicable to someone who's hiring for teaching. So many people come to us with a background in, accounting. It could be anything. And how do you make that look good to be a teacher? So she's really good at helping you tease out those different skills that you have and make it look good for a classroom hiring person. So job connections, absolutely. Professional resources. We have a library here, and we will share with you anything to get you on your way, because there's so many things out there. We want to make sure that you have a really good start. Okay. The last thing that I love about our program is the community. So people take our course and they disappear because they go to teach in other countries, but they don't. So many people who graduate from our program are still connected with us. We have a private Facebook group that is where I share jobs. So you don't just have job help once, you have job help for life. So as long as you're connected with our group, when I just got one from China yesterday. I'm looking for people. It's fully paid, 3 months in China, and I'm going to post that this afternoon. So if you're in our group, then I am posting jobs to you. Hey, this is available. Check it out. Other people are posting jobs. There's a vacancy at my school. Who wants to come to Japan? Things like that. Also, if you have questions, if you have lessons, if you need lesson ideas or activity ideas, this is something that is really good, and we're posting in there every day. And we love sharing that with each other. So it is an ongoing community of international English teachers. That's my favorite part about it, because it's really cool to see where everybody is and how they help each other out, and access to jobs. So that's why you're in this, right? Okay. Very quickly, our next class coming up starts in May or June. So we have our regular face-to-face course, which is a 4-week intensive in the summer. We meet Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 6 for 4 weeks. And then you'll finish your final practicum hours in the few weeks following that. Our new blended course is complicated to explain, so that's why I put it on the website here so you can click on that calendar. What it is we'll meet together for our first class via Google Hangout, kind of like Skype. Actually, this is a Google Hangout. So except we'll all be able to see each other and talk with each other. You won't just be listening to me talk. It's more of a conversation. So we'll meet via Google Hangout. I'll introduce you to the course website. You will complete assignments on that website, and then we will meet the following week to follow up on that. We'll have 3 Google Hangouts at the beginning, and you'll be completing the first module of the course. Then we will meet face-to-face. Our summer course is in Greenville, so you'll come to Greenville and be with us for 6 days. 6 days of live face-to-face class. When we're live, that's when you're going to do most of your teaching practice. You have presentations. We're going to give feedback to each other, learn about speaking and listening and conversation and pronunciation, those things that are harder to do online. Then you will go back to wherever you came from, if it's not Greenville. And then we have 2 final Google Hangout classes. You'll finish the final module of the class on your own and your practicum in your own location. And that's how the blended course works. So we're still together. We still have face-to-face time, but you have to do a lot more on your own. The modules that you're working on your own, you're also working with classmates, because we're using Google Docs. We're using ways for you to be having conversations with each other. So even though you have more freedom about when you complete things, you don't have to be in class from 9 to 11. You have from Monday to Saturday to do it. You are still in communication with other people in the class. You're still having conversations with them and with me throughout. So you have more freedom, but you also still have your class of people that you're working with, which is something I didn't want to get rid of by going online. So that's what it looks like. Those are our upcoming courses. And we ran our blended course this past spring. We just finished it a couple weeks ago, and it was amazing. I liked it better than I even imagined I would. Everybody had a great time. We communicated. It was fun seeing people in different places. And we had our face-to-face courses in Charleston, and it worked really well. They're all finishing up their practicum stuff now. One person is on her way to the Peace Corps in August. The other one already has a job in Thailand and probably is leaving this week. So it's working, and I would love to have you as part of that if you're interested. So just for you guys that are on the webinar, we are doing a special for the blended course coming up, and it's only good for the next 24 hours. So today's Thursday. By the end of this week, this offer is going to be gone because I can't afford to keep it up too long. But I just wanted to say thank you to you all for being on the webinar, and I'm really excited about the blended course. So if you are interested in taking that course, and you register and get enrolled within the next 24 hours, you're going to have $500 off the blended course. Okay. We also have our early bird special that goes until the end of this month, so April 30th, and that's $300 off, and that is good for the online course or for the face-to-face regular course. So I hope that you will join us for one of those two courses. If not, then we have more coming up in the fall, and you have so many different options about other TESOL courses. If you're not in our area and you don't see a way that you can get to us, but you really like what we do, then I hope that you're going to contact me and we'll see what we can do about that. Okay. All right. I'm going to move back to my PowerPoint and we are going to finish this up, getting back to step 3. So let me move back there. Hang on a second. Okay. All right. So step 2 is finding the training program that'll deliver the results that you want. So again, it's knowing what you want, and then it is matching a training program to that. That is how you have to do it. Otherwise, you're going to get so confused. What is the best? What is the right way to do it? What is the best way to do it? I have my opinions, of course, but it only really matters what you want out of this. Okay, so a couple things I want you to keep in mind, because you're going to see these thrown around all the time online. One is accreditation. Everyone wants you to ask, is this course accredited? I have many different answers to this about if accreditation is good or not. Accreditation is a process that a school or a program decides to undertake. So the school says, hey, I think we need to get accredited, and then they will apply to this program to be accredited. It takes many years and about $10,000 to $15,000 to complete the process. So just because a program is not accredited doesn't mean that they lost something. It's not like the health department came in and gave them an inspection and they lost. It might mean that they haven't applied for it. On the other hand, accreditation is an oversight committee. So a program that is accredited means that they've gone through this rigorous program and they have proved to someone that, yes, they are legit. Okay, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's an optional thing, and there are other things you might want to look at. So you might want to ask me if English for Life is accredited. We did not opt to do the accreditation process, that the expensive one that takes that long. The reason why is because we would rather that we keep our prices low. We would rather pay our teachers what they're worth than putting it toward that accreditation process. And instead of that, what we decided to do was seek partnerships with different colleges. So we have a partnership with College of Charleston, as I mentioned, where our courses are run through their Department of Professional Development. That means we have to turn in our syllabus to them. They know exactly what's in our course, and it meets the approval of the Department of Education and all of those people making the decisions about what is good and not. We also have a partnership with Greenville Tech, and our classes in Greenville are run at Greenville Tech. And so they also have approved that our courses are legit, and we go through this process with them every 2 years. So looking to see that someone has given this course, or any course that you're looking at, their approval, I think is a great idea. Is it official accreditation? I think that's up to you. Okay. Second point, online classes versus face-to-face classes. Like I said, a lot of employers are looking to see that you have done a face-to-face course or partially face-to-face course. But having said that, I know that the online programs are even more, they're growing. There's more and more all the time. So I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying you want to make sure that if it's online, you're actually working with a teacher and it's not something where you're just accessing information and taking a quiz. Okay, people ask me, do you have a money-back guarantee? Because I saw this other school has a money-back guarantee. I want you to be really careful about money-back guarantees. Okay, if you go to college and you pay for your semester and you decide not to show up or to fail, do you get a money-back guarantee? You do not get a money-back guarantee, believe me. This is not how educational institutions work. If there's a program that says it has a money back guarantee, please read the fine print very, very well. I know people who have really gotten burned because it says there's a money back guarantee. They think that's great. Then they're going to go and, you know, apply for jobs. And the fine print of how you actually get your money back is something that is nearly impossible to do. Things like, you must get 10 rejection letters from schools in 10 different countries or something like that. Does anyone send rejection letters? No, they just don't call you. If they don't like your resume, they don't call you. They don't send you a rejection letter. So please be careful about money back guarantees. Next one, job placement versus job resources. What does it mean when a school says you have job placement? That means that they have a partnership with the school who promises to hire you. That means you have very little choice in where you work, because how many schools can they really have that kind of arrangement with? So if it says job placement, please check and make sure that what that means. Does it mean, okay, that means you get to work in this one school in Northern China, we'll place you there? Or does it mean that you have choices? Job resources, however, are invaluable, helping you figure out where and how to get where you want to go. And then finally, this is just a word of advice. It doesn't really fit in my list here. Research your options and ask questions. I always ask people when they come back, what advice would you give to someone just starting this process? What advice would you give them? And they always tell me, do your research. Do your research and talk to people. When you call a school and they want to hire you and they say they're going to hire you, ask to talk to a teacher who works there. Google things. Google is great. So if you're looking at a program and it seems to be good or maybe too good to be true, Google it and Google the name of the program with complaints about or problems with or something like that. Of course, it's the internet. Of course, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. But if you get 1,000 hits of complaints, then you really might want to think twice. So just research, get out there, ask to talk to teachers, ask to talk to graduates, ask to talk to staff members, and find out more about the program. And don't be afraid to do that. Okay. In my opinion, just my opinion, any training program that you opt for should at least give you tools to be a good teacher. That's what you're paying them for. Resources to find a job, also what you're paying them for. And experience teaching. I think that if you leave your program and you've never had the chance to stand up in front of the classroom, that you're really narrowing your job opportunities after. Okay, so we already talked about English for Life. We're moving on to step 3, which is to gather your resources and find your new home and your new workplace. So this is something that you might be doing before you get your TESOL certificate, or it might be something that you are doing during or after, but it is a step that you need to do. So do you have a resume and documents? So applying for a job overseas, sometimes they want an actual photocopy of your undergraduate degree. Very often they'll ask for you to have a background check done. So that's something you can do anytime and have ready for them when they ask for it. All of those kinds of documents that you might need. Also, quick thing on the resume, don't be afraid if they ask for a picture. In the US, if you're on this call from the US, we do not put pictures on our resume, nor do we put our marital status or family or anything like that. It's actually illegal. So we're so not used to that. And then when we go for an international resume and they expect you to have a picture on it, and even sometimes if you're single or married, it kind of freaks us out. But know that that is the international resume format, and it is very common for them to ask for a picture of you. Okay, have you done your research? Are you doing your research on locations? There's lots of books and lots of websites to help you figure out what to expect where you're teaching. So, you know, let's say you decide you want to teach in Korea. I could give you the rundown of this is a general contract in Korea. It would include, your plane ticket, but they'll pay it after you finish your contract. It would include your apartment. It would be about this much money. And every country and location is going to be a little different. You can find that information out, okay? Your job search and doing your interviews. You'll generally do an interview via Skype, and very often they'll ask you to do a little lesson or to turn in a lesson plan as a second interview. So that's something you should be learning in your TESOL certificate class too, how to write lesson plans and how to do demo lessons. Okay, another point, don't be afraid to turn down a job. If you get in touch with someone and something seems a little off and it seems like a scam, or you just don't feel like it's right, you're not comfortable, or they ask you for money, like that's generally not a good sign. And don't be afraid to turn it down. There will be other jobs out there. You have to do what's comfortable for you. Okay. Are you looking at language and cultural information? Now you're getting on the way. It's time to decide, you know, are you going to learn the language? What kinds of cultural things can you know ahead of time? Do you need travel tips? And then, of course, packing your bags. So this is something you might be working on before you get your TESOL certificate or after, as you're moving toward looking at your job. Okay. Please ask me questions. Let me refresh my page here and see if anybody has questions for me. Haven't seen anything yet, but I'm happy to answer them. And I also would like to tell you, I have a couple other bonuses for you. Like I said, I'm really excited to be doing this webinar, and I'm also really excited about our blended course. So $500 off that blended course if you register within the next 24 hours. Or we'll say by 5 o'clock on Friday, because that's tomorrow. Okay. Also, I told you I'm also a coach, and I help people figure out what is a good path for them. And I'm happy to do a free 15-minute phone consultation with you. I cannot accommodate everyone on that, but the first 10 people who send me an email asking, please talk with me for 15 minutes. I'm more than happy to do that with you. We can do it via Skype or whatever is most convenient for you. So my email is on that page that we were just on, that web page. So you can email me now, or yeah, you might want to do it now. There's a lot of people on here if you want to talk to me. If you have a specific scenario that you want to run by me. Let's say you live in Kansas and you really want to take our program, but you're not sure you can get to Greenville or Charleston or Ecuador, then please get a phone consultation with me, because we have had people take this course from other states and we've figured out a way to make it happen. So if that's your circumstance, please, please, please sign up to talk to me so we can work it out for you. And then, of course, we have our early registration special, and that runs through April 30th, and that's good for the face-to-face course and also for the blended course. Okay, so I want to thank you again for being on this call for me. I don't see any questions, so maybe that means I'm doing a really good job, or maybe that means I can't see them or something. Who knows if technology is failing me. But assuming this is working, I am going to keep going. If not, I will get back to you after, when I can see them all better. Okay, so again, I'm not seeing questions. I will refresh again, but I think we are all set. I hope you got the information you needed. I want to wish you all the best in your global adventures. These are all pictures taken by my students in their various posts around the world. We have in the middle, that's Egypt, and then Thailand on the right, Kosig, obviously on the left, city, not the country. And a quick little quote for you that I really believe: travel is more than seeing of sights. It is a change that goes on deep and permanent in the ideas of living. And I wish you the best. I wish you great luck on your global adventures. I am looking forward to hearing from you. I hope you give me a call or send me an email if we can do anything for you in the future. And I want to thank you for your time today. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope that you have a very good rest of the afternoon. Bye-bye. Take care.